Somebody is tall, so he can't be president. Somebody is Akan, so he can't be president. Somebody is Muslim, so he can't be president. Somebody is a woman, so he can't be president. Somebody is disabled, so he can't be president. Why do we do this? And it is the desperation of politicians when they get to the cul-de-sac. When the politicians get to the cul-de-sac of their own narrative, that's when they start clutching a straw, and then they say some of these unsayable things, unwholesome, totally unwholesome. Some judge says that Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia here is not a Muslim. He's a Muslim by day. I'll show you the video, by the way. Don't worry, it's coming. He's a Muslim by day and he's a Christian by night. So he's a religious prostitute and he should not be elected as president because no Muslim will go to a church and have his hands laid on by the pastor. What is this? Islamic scholars are telling us something. I'm going to call one of the Muslim people to explain to us what Prophet Muhammad, the message Prophet Muhammad gave about this. But for us Christians, some George, we're supposed to be tolerant. It was tolerant that Jesus Christ was teaching us that led him to Zacchaeus' house. And Jesus' apostles, some George knows that. Jesus' apostles were concerned that Jesus was going to the house of Zacchaeus. And Jesus told Zacchaeus that Zacchaeus, come down from the sycamore tree because today I'll dine in your house. And Peter was not happy. But Jesus Christ was teaching us religious tolerance. Beyond religious tolerance, why should religion be used as a tool of campaign by some George and Fifi Kweti and John Mahama to use religion and tribe to campaign against Alhaji Muhammadu Bawumia? Now that he's been elected, some George is using religion to campaign against him. That is he a Muslim or is he a Christian? If he's a Muslim, he should be a Muslim and leave us Christians alone. Because they know that Ghana has a majority Christian population. But it is to the credit of Ghanaians that having a majority Christian population, they were able to elect a Muslim, not because they saw him as a Muslim, but they saw him as a Ghanaian who gave them his program for the election, which program they bought into, and they voted for him. That's the story that we want to tell about Ghana's democracy. We don't want a story about Ghana's democracy that says that Ghana's democracy is chauvinistic or that it has a religious bias or that it is Nigeria has majority Muslim population in Nigeria. Many of Nigerian presidents have been Muslim. In fact, almost all of them. In 1999, Tifo Basanjo, who's a Christian, tongue-talking, charismatic Christian, mounted a stage to be Nigeria's president. Some of these noises were made, I beg to say, very ugly noises, were made in Nigeria. That how do you elect Chief Obasanjo, who is a Christian, to come to Nigeria, which is 70% Muslim? It will not be allowed. It will not be this. It will not be that. Obasanjo said, look at me. Don't look at my religion. Look at me. Look at what I am offering Nigeria. And Obasanjo nearly won a third term. Nigerian majority Muslim in 1999 elected Chief Obasanjo, a Christian, to be the president of Nigeria. Later on, Nigerians again elected Goodluck Jonathan, a Christian, 70% Muslim. They elected Goodluck Jonathan, a Christian. That's the spirit of democracy. Why should people set out to campaign that Dr. Bawumia is a Muslim, so he cannot be president? They started by saying that Dr. Bawumia will never be elected by the MPP. Fifi Kwete said it. John Mahama said it. Today, they've seen before their very eyes the possibility that Dr. Bawumia talks about. That possibility has happened. Bawumia said it is possible. I'm going to achieve this thing. No non-Akan has been elected to the biggest political party in Ghana. I, Dr. Bawumia, I will achieve it. I will achieve it with the support of the people, with the support of the young people. And across 275 constituencies, Dr. Bawumia was elected by 60%. The MPP has truly demonstrated that they do not look at individuals with prejudice. Sam George must retract this thing, and the Muslim community, Sheikh Arimia, if you are listening to me, did you hear what Sam George said about Muslims? Sheikh Arimia and the Muslim community, have you heard it? Sam George should be retracting and apologizing. I do not believe that Reverend Ajanasari is with this situation. I don't even think that Sam George himself is with it. Maybe he just spoke out of 10. I know him. He probably spoke out of 10. And he must come around. I mean, the other day we talked about Sosu, didn't we? And I said here that Sosu spoke out of character. The next morning, he apologized, didn't he? Sosu apologized and actually used the words that we had used on Good Evening Ghana. He said, I spoke out of character. Sam George, I think you spoke out of 10. And you must say something about this. Because we need people like Sam George in the political campaign of 2024. We need the energy that the Ningo Prampram MP brings to it. We need that energy. He's a young man. I support young people, whether they're NDC or MPP, I support them. So I support Sam George. And he has the energy. I think he spoke out of 10, but what he said is terrible. It is very, very, very bad. I'm going to expose it tonight to show you how bad it is. And I hope that by tomorrow, just as Sosu did, he will come and retract the statement that I spoke out of 10. We don't campaign with religious prejudices. When I said Dr. Baumia is a religious prostitute, I'm sorry, I didn't use the right words. Because he was very confident on Good Morning Ghana. Dr. Baumia is a religious prostitute, and he goes to church, and no Muslim will go for them to let. I'll show you a photograph today. Chief Imam, Sharabutu, His Holiness. Sheikh Sharabutu, His Holiness. He was in the Catholic Church and the hands were laid on him. I'll show you the photograph. So then what does Sam George say? I'll show you the photograph. Pope, he went to a Muslim place in Turkey. He entered a mosque. That's religious tolerance. Why should we run politics and say, don't vote for candidate X because he's a Muslim? Oh, this is so sad. Ghana's democracy cannot be affected in this way. Ghana's democracy must be given an impetus of positivity. Not these kinds of comments. They draw us back. As for the Fifi Kwete one, it's just laughable. I mean, he said, Dr. Baumia is dreaming. Fifi Kwete didn't talk about religious prejudice. He said that MPP that he knows, they will never elect Dr. Baumia. John Mahama, former president, said MPP that he knows, they will never elect Dr. Baumia. Somehow, both Fifi Kwete and John Mahama, they may have been right. And that's why Dr. Baumia recognized the difficulty of the task, the enormity of the task that confronted Dr. Baumia was significant. That he comes up as a nobody, quote and unquote, in terms of politics. He comes up in 2008. He's coming from Wale Wale. His father was the chairman of the NDC. That makes it even worse. Dr. Baumia's father was the chairman of the NDC's Council of State. Alhaji Mumuni Baumia. He was chairman of NDC Council of State. I've showed you that video before. So Dr. Baumia is coming up. 1 year Northerner, 2 you are Mamprusi, 3 you are Muslim, 4 your father was NDC. And he said it is possible. I love Dr. Baumia for that. I just love him for that. Dr. Baumia's situation was like the famous Bible story, Elijah and the Baal gods. I don't know whether you know it. But they put the sacrifice there for one sacrifice here, another sacrifice here, and they said they were going to have a competition of which god can call fire. So the Baal gods prayed, the fire didn't come. It got to the turn of Elijah. Elijah said, before I pray, make it worse. Pour water on it. Make it worse. So they poured water on it. Elijah didn't have to say much. He raised his hands and said, Father, ow, bam, the fire came. That was Dr. Baumia's situation. You are Muslim. You are Mamprusi. You are a Northerner. You are not Ashanti.